Welcome back to Wiz Vibes Talks. Today, we're embarking on really a fascinating exploration. We're going deep into one of the most iconic, most powerful symbols in Hindu scriptures, the Sudarshana Chakra. Now, you probably associate it mainly with Lord Vishnu and, of course, his avatar, Lord Krishna. But, well, this divine weapon, it's so much more than just, a shark spinning disc. Over the next hour or so, we're planning to thoroughly unpack its origins, like where did it actually come from? We'll delve into its incredible powers, its attributes, explore its really profound significance, and try to understand why its legacy still resonates so strongly today. And we'll be drawing insights from, well, all over the Vedas, the Puranas, the great epics, to give you, hopefully, a truly comprehensive picture.
It really is a journey, isn't it? Through millennia of spiritual and philosophical thought. And what's immediately striking about the Sudarshana Chakra is just how much depth is packed even into its name. Shall we break that down a bit?
Please do. That sounds like the perfect place to start.
Okay, so Su in Sanskrit generally means divine or auspicious, virtuous, that kind of thing. Then you have Darshana. That relates to vision, perception, maybe insight. And chakra, well, many people know that one, it signifies movement, revolution, or simply a wheel.
Okay, so Sudarshana Chakra, divine auspicious vision in motion.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Auspicious vision actively engaged. It signals right away that this isn't just a physical weapon meant for destruction. It actually embodies a higher truth, you know, and the dynamic application of Dharma, of righteousness.
Right, divine action rooted in, well, right understanding. Makes sense. And when we picture Lord Vishnu, the chakra is almost always there, isn't it? Usually in his right rear hand, along with the conch, the panchajanya, the mace, Kamadaki, and the lotus, Padma. Is there a specific reason for that placement? What does it tell us?
Oh, absolutely. The iconography is incredibly deliberate. It's packed with symbolism. Placing the Sudarshana Chakra there in the right rear hand, alongside these other powerful emblems, it really underscores its crucial role. Its role in maintaining the equilibrium of the cosmos.
How so?
Well, think of it this way. The conch, panchajanya, often represents the primordial sound, Om, the sound of creation, and also the call to righteous duty. The mace, Kamadaki, that symbolizes unyielding power, divine authority, and the lotus, Padma, can represent purity, creation unfolding, spiritual perfection. So, positioned alongside these, the chakra signifies the active force, the force that dispels negativity, eliminates injustice and dharma, and by doing so, safeguards the cosmic order. It's really an integral part of Vishnu's divine toolkit, you could say, for upholding that balance.
It's like each object plays a specific vital role in this visual representation of cosmic governance. I like that. Now let's dive into the really fascinating part, the origin stories. Because it's not just one straightforward account, is it? Our sources seem to offer several different narratives about how the Sudarshana Chakra actually came to be. What can you tell us about that first major story, the one involving Vishvakarma and Surya, the sun god?
Right, this is a very foundational story. You find it in several Puranas, the Vishnu Purana being a key one. It recounts how Sanjanya, who was Surya's wife, found his radiant heat just utterly unbearable. She literally couldn't stay comfortably in his presence. So Vishvakarma, the divine architect, the craftsman of the gods, he intervened out of concern for her. He essentially took a portion of Surya's immense solar energy, his tehas, and through a process of, well, refining it, grinding it down, maybe tempering it, he created several divine objects from that essence.
The most potent was the chakra.
Exactly. The most potent of these creations was the Sudarshana Chakra. It's a narrative that precisely. That's a key point. We're told that Lord Shiva's Trishula, his formidable trident, and also Kuber's Pushpaka Vimana, his famous flying chariot, also originated from this very same essence of Surya. This shared origin links the chakra to a fundamental source of, well, immense divine power. It emphasizes its inherent fiery nature, its connection to an almost primal cosmic energy. It's like the chakra carries a spark of the sun's own incredible power, but directed by divine intelligence.
That's a powerful image. From the blinding heat of the sun to this precise, potent weapon. Now, there's another really significant origin story. This one involves Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, the one about the offering of lotus flowers. What's the core of that narrative?
Ah, yes. This is a deeply significant account. You find it in texts like the Shiva Purana, the Linga Purana too. It describes Lord Vishnu engaging in intense penance, a profound tapasya, really as an act of pure devotion to Lord Shiva. As part of his daily worship, Vishnu would offer 1,000 beautiful, exquisite lotus flowers every single day. Now, Lord Shiva, wanting to test the unwavering nature of Vishnu's devotion, well, he caused one of these lotus flowers to mysteriously disappear. just as Vishnu was about to complete his offering for the day.
Ah, the classic divine test. So Vishnu finds himself one short. What did he do?
Well, without a moment's hesitation, completely steadfast in his resolve, Vishnu, who remember is also known as Kamalanayana, the one with eyes like lotus's tree, he offered one of his own eyes in place of the missing flower.
Wow, his own eye. That's incredible devotion.
It truly is. This extraordinary act of self-sacrifice, driven purely by devotion, bhakti, it deeply moved Lord Shiva. Overjoyed by this display of unwavering faith, Shiva bestowed upon Vishnu this Sudarshana Chakra. He gave it as a divine boon, an invincible weapon that would aid Vishnu in his cosmic duty vanquishing evil, upholding righteousness. This story powerfully highlights the transformative power of devotion in attaining divine blessings. And it underscores that symbolic connection, doesn't it, between Vishnu offering his own lotus eye and the auspicious vision, the Sudarshana embodied by the chakra.
It's the ultimate demonstration of devotion leading to ultimate power. And it also speaks volumes about the profound interconnectedness, the harmony between Vishnu and Shiva, doesn't it? Two pillars of the Hindu pantheon. Okay, so we have the Surya origin, the Shiva boon, but we also hear accounts of the chakra being formed from the combined energies of the Trideva Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, or sometimes even all the gods. How does that version unfold?
Right, this particular account elevates the chakra's origin to an even more universal, more collective level. One version, found in the Brahma Purana, narrates how the gods, the Devas, were facing terrible torment from powerful demons, asuras. They sought refuge, they sought assistance from Lord Vishnu. Vishnu, recognizing the sheer magnitude of the threat, requested all the gods to contribute a portion of their individual divine energy, their Shakti. It was then Lord Shankar, Shiva himself, who took this unified, pooled energy, condensed it, shaped it into the form of this magnificent radiant wheel, and presented it to Mahavishnu.
So Shiva acted as the craftsman in that version, using the combined power of all the gods.
Precisely. This origin story truly establishes the chakra as the ultimate divine weapon, embodying the combined might and power of the entire celestial assembly. It really emphasizes its role as an instrument of universal cosmic law, backed by the collective strength of all divine beings.
So it's almost like a divine cooperative effort, a fascinating perspective. And you mentioned there are still other origin accounts, perhaps less widely known, like the Ramayana tradition or the idea of it being a gift from Brihaspati.
Yes, absolutely. The Ramayana does mention an instance where Lord Vishnu, perhaps in one of his divine plays or forms, vanquished a demon named Hayagriva on a mountain called Mount Chakravana. And after defeating him, he took possession of a powerful discus, which is identified as the Sudarshana Chakra. So that presents an aspect of the chakra being acquired through righteous victory. Then there's a tradition suggesting Brihaspati, the wise preceptor, the guru of the gods, bestowed the chakra upon Vishnu as a gift of immense power. The Vishnu Purana even mentions, interestingly, a temporary phase after Vishvakarma's creation, where the intensely radiant, almost too hot to handle chakra was placed in the depths of the ocean for a period, perhaps to cool down or be safeguarded.
So multiple layers.
Exactly. These diverse accounts, rather than simply contradicting each other, they really weave a richer tapestry of the chakra's divine origins. They emphasize its multifaceted nature and its connections to various aspects of the divine realm: creation, devotion, collective power, victory.
It really paints a picture of a weapon with a truly epic, multi-layered backstory. Now, okay, let's shift our focus. Let's talk about what this incredible weapon is actually capable of. The scriptures describe some truly awe-inspiring powers and attributes for the Sudarshana Chakra. What are some of its key capabilities?
Absolutely. And it's crucial to understand, as we touched on, that the Sudarshana Chakra is far, far more than just a sharp spinning object. The Puranas consistently depict it as the most formidable weapon in the entire cosmos, period. It possesses the capacity to annihilate even the most powerful adversaries, demons, malevolent entities, basically anything that threatens the cosmic order, threatens Dharma. Its potency is often described as surpassing even that of the Brahmastra.
Wow, surpassing the Brahmastra. That's saying something.
It really is. The Brahmastra itself is considered a weapon of almost unimaginable destructive power. The chakra is said to be imbued with immense occult and spiritual energy, not just physical force. This enables it to overcome literally any obstacle in the fulfillment of its divinely ordained purpose.
And the physical descriptions themselves sound quite terrifying. You hear about 2 spinning discs, countless sharp spikes or blades. Some accounts mention 108 blades, others 12. Some even go as far as 10 million razor-sharp spikes. What's the significance of these varying numbers?
That's a good question. The variations in the physical descriptions likely point to a few things. Symbolic numerology, for one,
Yeah.
and also probably evolving iconographic traditions across different texts and time periods. But regardless of the exact number, whether it's 108 or 12 or millions, the underlying concept remains consistent. It's a devastating cutting, grinding, annihilating mechanism designed for swift and complete neutralization of its target. The sheer number of blades or spikes just emphasizes its overwhelming, inescapable, destructive potential.
Okay, overwhelming power. What about its accuracy? I've always heard that the Sudarshana Chakra never misses its mark. Is that a consistent attribute?
Indeed it is. Unerring accuracy is absolutely a defining characteristic. Once its divine wielder Vishnu or Krishna launches it, it is absolutely relentless in its pursuit. It invariably returns only after it has neutralized its intended target or accomplished the specific task it was deployed for. It's said to travel along the Shunya Marg.
Shunya Marg, what does that mean?
It can be understood as the path of zero resistance, or perhaps the void. A pathway beyond normal space-time, maybe. It allows it to reach any location instantaneously without any physical obstruction getting in its way.
Instantaneous reach. That's an incredible level of precision and speed combined.
Yeah.
And its rotational speed is also described as being beyond comprehension, right?
Oh, absolutely. The descriptions are mind-boggling. Its rotational velocity is said to exceed 100,000 rotations in a single second. And its range is equally phenomenal lakhs of yojanas. A yojana is a significant unit of distance, maybe several miles, and it covers these vast distances in the mere blink of an eye. Basically, no one can effectively outrun it. You can't find a secure hiding place from its pursuit.
So unparalleled power, speed, accuracy, but how is it actually controlled? Is it like throwing a divine frisbee, or is there a more direct mental connection?
It's understood to be much more intimately connected to the divine will of its wielder. It's not just launched and forgotten. The chakra is described as an extension of that very will projected through the power of the mind, through intent. Even after it's launched, it remains completely under the mental command of its owner, whether that's Vishnu or Krishna. Interestingly, you see different depictions of how they hold it. Krishna is often shown balancing it almost casually on his little finger, Vishnu often on his index finger. However, when Krishna releases it, the depiction is typically him using his index finger to launch it. A subtle difference, perhaps, but it underscores that control.
That detail really emphasizes the direct link between the wielder's intent and the chakra's action. It's not just a tool, it's an extension of consciousness. Now, one of the most crucial aspects I've encountered, and you touched on this earlier, is the chakra's intrinsic link to Dharma. It's not just a weapon of indiscriminate destruction, is it?
No, absolutely not. That's a profoundly important point to grasp. The Sudarshana Chakra's immense power is inherently governed by Dharma, by righteousness, by the established cosmic order. It is said that it will not even activate, it won't attack, unless the objective of its deployment is unequivocally in alignment with upholding Dharma and restoring the balance of the universe. It's not a weapon of aggression or personal vendetta or power grabs. It's purely an instrument of divine justice, acting only when necessary to preserve cosmic harmony.
That understanding makes its immense power far more meaningful, doesn't it? It's a force for good, guided by cosmic principles, not by whim. Now, beyond its sheer destructive capabilities, the chakra also possesses really significant symbolic and spiritual attributes, like being the wheel of time, the Kala chakra. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, this is a deeply insightful aspect. You see this association going way back, even hence in the Rig Veda, and certainly developed in later Vedic and Puranic texts. The circular form of the chakra is naturally linked with Vishnu's symbolism and his concept of the cyclical nature of time, the Kala chakra. Its wheel-like form represents the eternal cycle, creation, preservation, destruction, the continuous flow of existence, everything turning. The Vamana Purana even provides a detailed description, mentioning 12 spokes and 6 navels.
12 spokes, 6 navels. What do those represent?
They're often interpreted symbolically. The 12 spokes could represent the 12 months of the year or the 12 zodiac signs. The 6 navels might relate to the 6 seasons of the Indian calendar.
Yeah.
Basically key divisions within the cycle of time.
So it's a visual representation of the universe's eternal rhythms and transformations. Fascinating. And the sharp, serrated edges of the chakra, they also carry symbolic meaning, don't they? Not just for cutting physical things.
Indeed. Those sharp edges are interpreted as symbolizing the keenness of intellect, the power of discernment, viveka, that's necessary to cut through the veils of ignorance, ajnana, and delusion, maya. So it's associated with the pursuit of knowledge, attaining spiritual clarity, the ability to perceive reality beyond the transient illusions of the material world. In that sense, It has a soteriological function too. It aids in liberation from spiritual bondage. Think of it like a razor-sharp intellect slicing through confusion to reveal the underlying truth.
So it's not just about physical destruction, but also cutting through spiritual darkness, achieving enlightenment. That adds another whole layer. And the chakra is also linked to the element of fire, to Agni in some way, isn't it?
Correct. We saw its origin tied to Surya, the sun, and it evokes the purifying and transformative power of fire, Agni. Fire consumes negativity, it destroys evil forces, it purifies, and because of all these potent attributes, its power, its symbolism, its connection to Dharma and fire, it became revered as an object of worship in various traditions, both Vedic and significantly Tantric traditions. The Garuda Purana, for instance, mentions its invocation in Tantric rituals, particularly for things like empowering kings, ensuring their victory over adversaries. This highlights its application in esoteric practices for both worldly and spiritual gains.
Wow. Supreme weapon, symbol of time, instrument of enlightenment, object of worship. It's quite a multifaceted profile.
Yeah.
And it even possesses defensive and protective qualities. It's not just offensive.
Absolutely. Its role isn't solely offensive or destructive. The worship, or even just the sincere invocation of the Sudarshana Chakra, is believed to grant relief from a really wide range of afflictions. Things like physical ailments, mental distress, even protection from more mundane things like debts, enemies, legal troubles, natural calamities. It's said to aid in achieving victory, but specifically in righteous endeavors. And it's even believed to provide a degree of foresight, a warning against potential dangers. And perhaps most famously, as the story of Sage Durvasa so clearly illustrates, the only true escape from its relentless pursuit is complete and utter surrender. Surrender to the divine will of its wielder, who may then choose to extend grace and mercy.
That really puts its power into perspective. It's a force that commands not just respect, but perhaps even requires complete surrender for safety. Now let's turn our attention more fully to Lord Krishna. We know the Sudarshana Chakra is very strongly associated with him, perhaps even more famously than with Vishnu for many people. How did he come to possess it? Was it the same way Vishnu did, or are there different narratives surrounding Krishna's acquisition?
That's a great question. And the narratives surrounding Krishna's acquisition of the Sudarshana Chakra are indeed varied. And this diversity, again, it further enriches our understanding of his divine nature as an avatar of Vishnu. One prominent view, perhaps the most fundamental, is that as a Purnavatara, meaning a complete incarnation of Vishnu, embodying all his divine attributes, the Sudarshana Chakra was an inherent part of Krishna right from his birth. In this perspective, it wasn't something he was explicitly given later on. It was always an intrinsic aspect of his divine self, his power. It just needed to be manifested or revealed at the right time.
That makes sense, given the concept of a complete manifestation of the divine. It was just part of him. But we also encounter stories of the chakra being a gift, specifically from Parashurama, who is another significant avatar of Vishnu himself.
Yes, there's a notable legend, often connected to the Mahabharata narratives or related texts. It describes Parashurama, the formidable warrior sage, the sixth avatar of Vishnu, visiting Lord Krishna. This happened while Krishna was at the Sandipani ashram, receiving his formal education alongside Balarama. During this encounter, Parashurama is said to have formally bestowed the Sudarshana Chakra upon Krishna. He gave it along with specific mantras associated with its use, its invocation. The rationale often given for this handover is that only Krishna, with his complete divine stature and his specific destined role in the Dwapara Yuga, possessed the capacity to wield this unparalleled weapon effectively in that era. It suggests a kind of lineage, doesn't it? Divine power being transmitted between avatars, acknowledging Krishna's unique mission and responsibilities.
So it's almost like a formal investiture, a passing of the torch, or the discus, in this case, of divine power. Interesting. And then there's the very well-known story involving Agni, the fire god, and the burning of the Khandava forest. How does the chakra factor into that event?
This is another significant account, detailed quite vividly in the Mahabharata. Lord Krishna, along with Arjuna, famously assisted Agni Deva in consuming the vast Khandava forest. This act was necessary because Agni had become weak from consuming too many ghee offerings and needed to burn the forest with its medicinal herbs to regain his full fiery potency. In gratitude for their crucial aid, they had to fight off Indra and other gods who tried to protect the forest. Agni Deva presented Lord Krishna with the Sudarshana Chakra. He also gave him a divine mace, the Kamodaki mace. Arjuna, in return, received his legendary bow Gandiva and inexhaustible quivers of arrows from Varuna, the sea god who was also involved. So this narrative frames Krishna's acquisition of the chakra as a reward, a divine gift, for a significant service rendered to another major deity, thereby contributing to the larger cosmic balance.
It's like a divine exchange, a reciprocal act of support within the celestial hierarchy. Makes sense. And finally, there's the more general notion I've sometimes heard of Krishna obtaining it from the Devata Mandal, the assembly of deities. What can you tell us about that?
Exactly. This can be seen perhaps as a broader, encompassing statement. It might even underlie some of the more specific instances we've discussed. Perhaps Agni was acting on behalf of the assembled gods when he gave the chakra. Or maybe it just signifies a collective recognition within the celestial realm that Krishna, for his mission on Earth, needed this ultimate weapon to fulfill his destined purpose. It highlights that interconnectedness of the divine realm and the collaborative aspect, sometimes, of maintaining cosmic order.
So whether it was an inherent attribute from birth, a formal gift from a predecessor avatar, a specific reward from a powerful deity like Agni, or a collective offering from the gods, Krishna's possession of the Sudarshana Chakra was clearly a significant and multifaceted event. It wasn't just a simple handover. Okay, now let's delve into the instances where this incredible weapon was actually deployed. The scriptures are absolutely replete with accounts of its usage by both Vishnu and his various avatars, and of course by Lord Krishna himself. Let's begin with the pre-Krishna era. What are some notable deployments by Vishnu before Krishna's time?
Oh, certainly. Even before the advent of Krishna, the Sudarshana Chakra was very much Vishnu's signature weapon. It was employed in numerous pivotal cosmic events. We've already mentioned its role in the slaying of the demon Haigriva, where Vishnu might have first acquired it in some traditions. Then there's the epic Samudra Manthan, the churning of the cosmic ocean. The chakra was instrumental there in slicing the massive Mandrakal Parvat, Mount Mandara, which was being used as the churning rod. Imagine the power needed for that. And who could forget the captivating Mohini avatar? Vishnu, in that enchanting female form, utilized the chakra quite decisively to behead the Asura Rahu, who had sneakily disguised himself as a god to try and steal the nectar of immortality.
Those are some truly grand-scale cosmic interventions. Slicing mountains, beheading immortal wannabes. And what about the somewhat unsettling story of Sati's dismemberment? How was the chakra involved there? It seems different from just fighting demons.
That is indeed a poignant and deeply significant event, yes. Very different. When Sati, Shiva's consort, immolated herself in the sacrificial fire due to the disrespect shown to Shiva by her father Daksha, Shiva was overcome with immense grief and rage. He began wandering the universe, carrying her lifeless body, lost in sorrow, disrupting the cosmic balance. To alleviate Shiva's unbearable suffering and to restore cosmic equilibrium, Lord Vishnu used the Sudarshana Chakra. But here, it wasn't used violently. It was used to gently, precisely dismember Sati's body. The various locations where her body parts fell then became the revered Shakti Pithas, sites considered exceptionally sacred to the divine feminine, to Shakti.
That's a powerful, albeit somber, application of the chakra's power, used not for destruction of evil, but for a delicate, almost surgical act of cosmic restoration and creating sacred spaces. Remarkable. Were there also instances where Vishnu used the chakra specifically to protect his devoted followers, his bhaktas?
Absolutely. That's one of his key functions. The narrative of King Ambarisha and the, shall we say, rather irascible sage Durvasa is a classic example of this protective function. When Durvasa, known for his quick temper, unjustly cursed the deeply devout King Ambarisha, Lord Vishnu didn't hesitate. He unleashed the Sudarshana Chakra in defense of his devotee. The chakra relentlessly pursued Durvasa across all the realms, heavens, earth, underworld. Durvasa sought help from Brahma, from Shiva, but no one could stop the chakra. Finally, realizing the immense power he was facing, Durvasa had to seek refuge with Vishnu himself, who told him the only way was to beg forgiveness from Ambarisha. And he eventually did. This story clearly demonstrates the chakra's unwavering commitment to protecting those devoted to Vishnu. It shows that devotion itself is a shield, backed by Vishnu's ultimate power. And we must also recall Narasimha, the awe-inspiring man-lion avatar. While often depicted using his claws, Narasimha is also closely associated with the Sudarshana Chakra and his terrifying destruction of the tyrannical demon Hiranyakashipu, who thought himself invincible. The chakra is sometimes shown as one of Narasimha's weapons.
It truly seems to be the definitive weapon for upholding Dharma and protecting devotees across Vishnu's various incarnations, from cosmic battles to personal protection. Now, when Lord Krishna wielded the chakra during his earthly sojourn, his Leela were its applications similar? Or did he employ it in unique ways that reflected his specific divine play and the context of the Mahabharata era?
I'd say both. The core purpose, upholding Dharma, destroying adharma, protecting devotees, remains central. But Krishna certainly employed it in ways unique to his Lila, his divine play. A wonderful example of a primarily protective use, not destructive, is during the famous Govardhan Hill episode. Remember when the wrathful Indra sent torrential, devastating rains to flood the land of Vrindavan, angry that the Vrajavasas had stopped his worship? Krishna famously lifted the massive Govardhan Hill on his little finger to provide shelter. Now, some accounts say he also deployed the Sudarshana Chakra either to hover above the hill, acting like a divine umbrella to regulate the intensity of the downpour, maybe even generate heat to keep people warm, or possibly to support the base of the hill, preventing it from collapsing under its own immense weight. Either way, a powerful demonstration of protection rather than outright destruction.
That's a beautiful image, the incredibly powerful chakra being used so gently, so effectively, to safeguard the innocent from the wrath of another god, no less. And then, of course, there are the more forceful applications. The slaying of Shishupala comes immediately to mind.
Exactly. That's perhaps one of the most famous instances. During Yudhishthira's grand Rajasuya Yajna, the ceremony declaring him emperor, Shishupala, the arrogant king of Chedi, just couldn't stop insulting Lord Krishna, vile insults repeatedly, publicly. Krishna had promised Shishupala's mother he would forgive her son 100 offenses. But once Shishupala crossed that threshold, Krishna swiftly, instantly, beheaded him with the Sudarshana Chakra right there in the assembly, thus fulfilling Dharma and his prior promise simultaneously. Then there was the incident we mentioned earlier, the burning of the Khandava forest. Krishna actively wielded the chakra there to assist Agni, both in consuming the forest efficiently and, crucially, in warding off any resistance, including from Indra himself, who tried to put out the fire to protect his friend Takshaka, the serpent king living there.
Right, defending Agni's right to consume the forest. And then there are the perhaps lesser known but still significant events, like the slaying of Pundraka and the subsequent rather dramatic destruction of Kashi. What were the circumstances surrounding those events?
Yes, these events occurred during Krishna's time as the king of Dwaraka. Pundraka was this, rather foolish king who got it into his head that he was the real Vasudeva Krishna. He started imitating Krishna's appearance, the yellow robes, the peacock feather, even trying to fashion fake extra arms and carrying imitation weapons, including a fake Sudarshana Chakra. He demanded Krishna stop using the title Vasudeva. Krishna, after some tolerance, dealt with this impostor quite decisively, using the real Sudarshana Chakra to end his charade. Following this, Pundraka's ally, the son of the king of Kashi, Varanasi, sought revenge. He performed austerities and launched a malevolent spiritual entity, like a fiery demoness called Kritya, towards Dwarka to destroy it. The Sudarshana Chakra swiftly intercepted this magical attack, neutralized it, and then pursued it right back to Kashi. There, it incinerated not only the king's son who sent it, but also his associated priests. And as a consequence of their unprovoked aggression, it ultimately reduced a significant portion of the ancient city of Kashi to ashes. Stark warning.
Wow, so it was employed to deal with both individual threats like imposters and larger scale aggressions, even magical ones, against Dharma and against Krishna's people. Now, one of the most dramatic, strategically significant uses of the chakra in the Mahabharata, one everyone remembers, is undoubtedly the obscuring of the sun on the 14th day of the Kurukshetra war.
Oh, absolutely pivotal and incredibly dramatic. A masterstroke by Krishna. Arjuna had taken a solemn vow to slay Jayadratha, the warrior responsible for trapping and killing his son Abhimanyu before sunset that day. If he failed, Arjuna vowed to immolate himself. The Kauravas were protecting Jayadratha fiercely, hiding him deep within their formations. As the sun began to set, it looked like Arjuna would fail. At that critical moment, Krishna strategically deployed the Sudarshana Chakra not to attack, but to create a temporary illusion of sunset. He covered the sun. This caused the Kaurava forces to rejoice, thinking the day was over and Arjuna had failed. Jayadratha, feeling safe, came out of hiding. Instantly, Krishna pointed him out to Arjuna, who swiftly attacked and fulfilled his oath. And immediately after Jayadratha fell, Krishna withdrew the chakra, revealing that the sun was actually still shining brightly for a few moments more. It was a brilliant, brilliant tactical use of the chakra's power, manipulating perception, essentially to ensure Arjuna's vow was kept, and to strike a major blow against the Kauravas, all in favor of righteousness.
It was a moment of absolutely crucial divine intervention that really turned the tide of the battle, all arguably within the bounds of upholding Dharma, given Jayadratha's role. Amazing. And there's also a more subtle instance mentioned sometimes about the chakra supporting Arjuna's bridge of arrows. Can you tell us about that one?
Yes, this is a more subtle story, often highlighting Krishna's quiet support. During a particular episode, Arjuna, perhaps getting a bit boastful, claimed his bridge made of arrows could withstand anything, even the immense power of Hanuman. Hanuman, present there, sometimes in disguise, challenged this. To subtly ensure Arjuna's pride didn't lead to a broken vow and humiliation, Krishna, in an act of unseen support, secretly reinforced the arrow bridge with the subtle energy, the power of the Sudarshana Chakra. This prevented Hanuman from destroying it with his full might, thus preserving Arjuna's honor and the integrity of his boast, while also subtly teaching Arjuna about humility, perhaps.
So sometimes its power was very visible, very dramatic, like with Shishupala or the sun. And other times it worked in a more subtle, supportive way, almost behind the scenes. Fascinating range. Now, you mentioned controversies earlier. There's a rather sensitive local tradition, particularly strong in Odisha, concerning Krishna's son, Pradyumna, and the Sudarshana Chakra. You also mentioned that our primary scriptural sources strongly contradict this local account. Can you shed some more light on this discrepancy? It seems important to clarify.
It is indeed crucial to address this with clarity, and importantly, with reliance on the most authoritative, widely accepted scriptural sources. While there is a localized tradition, particularly in Odisha, that suggests Lord Krishna used the Sudarshana Chakra to, eliminate his own son, Pradyumna, for some reason. This narrative stands in stark, direct contrast to the accounts found in the major Puranas. Specifically, the Mausala Parva of the Mahabharata, which details the tragic end of the Yadava clan, and also the Bhagava Purana, are quite clear on this. These primary texts unequivocally state that Pradyumna met his end during the terrible internal strife, the drunken brawl and civil war among the Yadavas that took place at Brahmasatirtha. This was a consequence of a curse from sages, not an act by Krishna. Furthermore, the Mausala Parva explicitly details the dramatic disappearance of all of Krishna's divine weapons, the bow Sharanga, the mace Kaumodaki, the chariot, and significantly the Sudarshana Chakra. They all ascended back to the heavens before Krishna's own departure from the mortal realm. The timing makes the local story impossible according to these texts. Therefore, this local Odisha tradition regarding Pradyumna and the chakra should be approached with significant caution. It needs to be understood as a regional variation, perhaps arising from complex local interpretations or narratives that simply does not align with the core pan-Indian scriptural narratives. And just to reiterate a related point, the primary accounts of the Kurukshetra war itself do not depict Krishna directly slaying warriors using the Sudarshana Chakra. His role was primarily as Arjuna's charioteer and guide, though he used the chakra for strategic purposes like obscuring the sun.
Thank you for that very important clarification. It's absolutely vital to distinguish between these local traditions, however deeply felt, and the broader scriptural consensus found in the foundational texts like the Mahabharata and Bhagavata Purana. Now, the significance and reverence for the Sudarshana Chakra seem to extend far beyond just Vishnu and Krishna wielding it as a weapon, doesn't it? We see instances of its actual deification, its worship, and its central role in various specific religious cults.
Oh, absolutely. Over time, the Sudarshana Chakra has evolved, in some traditions, into a powerful object of worship in its own right. It's not just seen as a tool, but as a divine entity. In South Indian Vaishnavism, particularly within the Sri Vaishnava tradition, it is deified as Chakrapurusha, or more commonly Chakraparumal, or Chakratalvar, Alvar of the discus. Here it's worshipped as a fierce, protective, and dynamic aspect of Vishnu. It's often depicted anthropomorphically given a human-like form, usually fiery and multi-armed, maybe 16 arms, wielding various weapons, and sometimes very powerfully. It's depicted with the fierce form of Lord Narasimha on its reverse side, forming the potent combined deity known as Sudarshana Narasimha. This really highlights the personified power of the chakra as an independent deity capable of bestowing protection and forcefully dispelling negativity.
So the weapon itself becomes a focus of devotion, a deity in its own right. That's incredible. And it also plays a very unique and central role in the Jagannath cult in Puri, Odisha as well, doesn't it? Though maybe in a different form.
Indeed. That's another fascinating regional development. In the highly sacred Jagannath cult of Puri, Sri Sudarshana holds a unique position. It's considered one of the four primary deities of the Chaturthampurti enshrined on the main altar, the Ratnavedi, alongside Jagannath, Balabhadra, and Subhadra. However, crucially, it's not represented there in its typical discus or weaponized form. Instead, it's represented as a short, carved wooden pillar-like structure, often draped in red cloth. It's quite distinct visually. Furthermore, the Nila Chakra, the iconic blue discus, made of an 8-metal alloy that crowns the very spire of the Jagannath temple, that too is identified with the Sudarshana Chakra. This demonstrates a distinct regional integration, where Sudarshana takes on a crucial, almost representative ritualistic role. It acts as Lord Jagannath's representative in certain ceremonies, symbolizing divine energy, power, and protection within the temple's sacred space.
It's fascinating how a symbol traditionally associated with a weapon of immense power can transform into such a central, uniquely represented, and non-anthropomorphic religious icon in a major tradition like Jagannath worship. And we also hear about the chakra's invocation in various Vedic and, as you mentioned, tantric cults and practices.
That's right. Its power wasn't just noted in mythology, it was actively invoked. Texts like the Garuda Purana and others within tantric traditions detail specific rites and mantras for invoking the Sudarshana Chakra. These invocations were often performed for purposes such as bestowing power, Shakti, upon kings, ensuring their victory in battles, protecting against enemies, removing obstacles, or even for healing purposes. This highlights its application within more esoteric traditions for both spiritual empowerment and achieving worldly success or protection.
Okay. What about its potential association with, say, Radharani or perhaps other female deities in Hindu traditions? Does the chakra connect there?
That's an interesting area. While not as widely established or emphasized in the primary Puranic narratives, which strongly link it to Vishnu and Krishna, some traditions and specific schools of thought do suggest connections. There are some traditions, perhaps more esoteric or within certain Vaishnava lineages, that do suggest an association of Radharani, Krishna's divine consort, with a power or essence of the Sudarshana Chakra, or at least the ability to wield its power. Interestingly, the Nimbarka Sampradaya, a significant Vaishnava tradition focusing on Radha Krishna worship, considers its founder, Adyacharya Sri Nimbarka, to be an incarnation of the Sudarshana Chakra itself, deeply devoted to Radha Krishna. So that offers a unique theological perspective on a profound connection. Beyond Radha, we also occasionally see other powerful goddesses, particularly forms of Durga or the Mahavidyas, sometimes depicted wielding discusses as one of their many weapons. For example, Narayani or Vaishnadevi. This suggests the discus shape itself became a broader symbol of divine Shakti, cosmic power, or the power to cut through obstacles, even if not always explicitly identified as Vishnu's specific Sudarshana Chakra.
It seems the symbolic reach and influence of the chakra are incredibly extensive and multifaceted, touching many corners of Hindu thought and practice. Now, given all this, its incredible power, its divine origins, its pivotal roles in countless cosmic events, it's really no surprise that the Sudarshana Chakra is considered virtually invincible, unconquerable. What are the fundamental reasons behind this reputation? Why is it seen as unstoppable?
Its reputation for invincibility, for being absolutely unconquerable, really arises from a confluence of several interconnected factors we've touched upon. Foremost, perhaps, is its divine origin and its inherent nature. Forged from celestial essence, whether Surya's energy, Shiva's boon, or the gods' combined might and considered a direct extension of Vishnu or Krishna's very will, it possesses a power that inherently surpasses any earthly, demonic, or even most other divine weaponry. It's just on a different level. Secondly, its intrinsic attributes sealed the deal, you might say. Its unerring infallibility, it never misses. Its unmatched speed and precision reaching anywhere instantly via the Shunya Marg. And its overwhelming destructive power, often stated, as we noted, to exceed even the Brahmastra. These qualities alone render it practically unstoppable by conventional means.
So it's divinely crafted with a perfect and purposeful design for its intended function. Got it. And its inseparable connection to Dharma, its righteousness-bound nature, that's also crucial to its invincibility, isn't it?
Absolutely, that's a critical point. Because the Sudarshana Chakra acts solely to uphold righteousness, to maintain cosmic equilibrium. Any force that opposes it is, by definition, aligned with adharma, with unrighteousness or chaos. Thus, their resistance is fundamentally futile against an instrument that embodies cosmic law and divine justice itself. It's like trying to fight the very principle of order. And let's not overlook the control aspect. The fact that it is directly controlled by the mental command of Vishnu or Krishna makes it, in essence, an extension of their omnipotence and omniscience. How do you defeat something wielded directly by the mind of the Supreme?
It's like attempting to defy the very will of the Supreme Being made manifest as a weapon. Seems impossible, and the compelling story of Sage Durvasa's desperate flight from the chakra, his seeking refuge everywhere, that really underscores this inherent invincibility, doesn't it? It serves as a prime example.
It does indeed. It's the classic illustration. Durvasa, a powerful sage in his own right, was pursued relentlessly across the entire cosmos by the Sudarshana Chakra. He went to Brahma, he went to Shiva, none could offer him protection from it. He only found ultimate refuge and respite after finally surrendering completely to Lord Vishnu's will, which, in that case, meant seeking forgiveness directly from Ambarisha, the devotee he had wronged. This powerfully demonstrates that the only guaranteed recourse against the chakra is absolute surrender to the divine will that propels it. Resistance is futile. Surrender might bring grace.
So its invincibility isn't just about brute force. It's deeply intertwined with the power of divine intent, the unassailable force of cosmic justice, and the necessity of surrender to that divine will. A profound concept. Now, shifting gears again slightly. What happened to this ultimate weapon after Lord Krishna completed his earthly mission, his avataric purpose, and departed from the world during the events described in the Mausala Parva? Did it just vanish?
The scriptures, particularly the Mahabharata, offer a fairly clear, though perhaps poignant, perspective on this. The Mausala Parva recounts how, just prior to Krishna's Swargarohana, his ascent back to his divine abode, Vaikuntha, all of his divine armaments, including the Sudarshana Chakra, spontaneously vanished from Dwaraka. They ascended back to the heavens. This withdrawal of his divine instruments wasn't just incidental, it symbolized the completion of his specific avataric purpose on earth. It marked the formal end of the Dwapara Yuga and the transition into the current age, the Kali Yuga, an age where such overt, readily available divine weaponry and interventions are generally understood to be less frequent or accessible.
So according to the primary scriptural accounts like the Mahabharata, it essentially returned to its celestial origins, its mission accomplished for that era. However, as we discussed with the Pradyumna story, there are intriguing local legends, particularly persistent in the region of Odisha, that speak of its continued presence, maybe in a different state. Can you tell us a bit more about those traditions?
Yes, exactly. Despite the Mahabharata's clear account of its disappearance, there are vibrant local traditions, especially concentrated in the Puri region of Odisha, that suggest that chakra's continued, albeit perhaps less visible or active, presence on Earth. One such tradition, which as we carefully noted earlier, presents inconsistencies with the primary scriptures regarding Pradyumna, proposes that after Krishna's supposed final use of it, in that contested narrative, the chakra journeyed to the banks of the sacred river Prachi, near Puri, and engaged in rigorous austerities there, perhaps in a dormant state. More tangibly, perhaps, at the Agikya ashram, also near Puri, there is a large, buried, discus-shaped structure that is worshipped by local devotees as the Patala Futa Sudarshana, meaning the Sudarshana that emerged from the netherworld or the earth. They believe this structure is the very Sudarshana Chakra of Vishnu, last wielded by Krishna. Local folklore even recounts the story of a devout follower named Sahuti Das having a dream that led to the partial excavation and subsequent worship of this structure. These local beliefs, while differing from the Puranic accounts, really highlight a deep-seated human desire, perhaps, to maintain a tangible physical and spiritual connection to this immensely powerful and protective divine symbol.
It's as if the sheer power and profound legend of the chakra continue to resonate so strongly in the collective consciousness that people find ways to perceive its presence, even if its physical manifestation is a matter of local belief and interpretation. And what about prophecies concerning its potential reemergence? Does tradition speak of it coming back in the distant future?
Indeed, it does. The story doesn't necessarily end with its disappearance after Krishna's era. Several Puranic traditions, including accounts sometimes attributed to the Shiva Purana or other texts detailing future events, foretell the eventual reemergence of the Sudarshana Chakra. This is prophesied to happen at the very end of the current Kali Yuga, when Lord Vishnu incarnates in his final major avataric form as Kalki, the fierce warrior who will arrive riding a white horse. These prophecies often state that the immortal sage Hanuman, who is Chiranjeevi, immortal until the end of the Kalpa, will play a key role. Hanuman will instruct Kalki in the proper use and wielding of the Sudarshana Chakra, perhaps revealing its location or bestowing his power upon him. Kalki will then utilize this ultimate weapon to vanquish the remaining forces of evil and adharma that will be rampant at the end of the age, reestablish Dharma in its fullness, and thereby usher in the next Satya Yuga, the age of truth and righteousness. This really positions the Sudarshana Chakra as a cyclical instrument of cosmic justice. It disappears when its work is done for one age, but it reappears whenever the cosmic balance is severely threatened and needs fundamental restoration.
So it's not necessarily a permanent departure, but perhaps more of a dormancy, awaiting its crucial role in the grand cyclical drama of the yugas. That's a powerful thought. And even in the present era, the Kali Yuga, while it might be dormant or residing elsewhere according to the main text, its symbolic presence and the actual practice of its worship continue to be remarkably strong and widespread, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Its influence hasn't waned symbolically or ritually. As we discussed, the Sudarshana Chakra continues to be deeply venerated as Chakra Perumal or Chakra Talvar, particularly in South India. There are dedicated temples, shrines, intricate rituals, specific mantras, and fervent devotion centered around this personified form of the chakra. Its integral, unique role in the Jagannath cult in Puri, even in its non-discus wooden pillar representation, further underscores its enduring significance in contemporary religious practice in that major center. Beyond specific cults, it remains a ubiquitous symbol in the iconography of Vishnu and Krishna worldwide. Seeing it in Vishnu's hand is an immediate identifier. It serves as a constant visual reminder of divine protection, righteous justice, the power to overcome obstacles, and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. And its profound philosophical symbolism is the wheel of time, as the cutting edge of intellect that destroys ignorance, as the very embodiment of Dharma in motion continues to resonate deeply within Hindu thought, philosophy, and spirituality.
It's truly extraordinary, isn't it? How an ancient divine weapon, described in texts thousands of years old, can maintain such a potent, dynamic, and multifaceted presence in modern religious life and thought.
Indeed. I think the journey of the Sudarshana Chakra through the vast landscape of Hindu scripture, mythology, and living tradition reveals it to be so much more than just a divine weapon, however powerful. It really stands as this incredibly potent symbol of Dharma in action. It's an embodiment of the eternal cycle of time. It's a revered object of profound worship, sometimes as a deity itself. And fundamentally, it's a direct manifestation of the unwavering divine will to protect order and righteousness. Its multifaceted nature and the rich tapestry of compelling stories woven around its origins, powers, and deployments continue to inspire awe, devotion, and deep contemplation across generations. It's a symbol that keeps yielding meaning.
So as we sort of draw the threads of this deep dive into the Sudarshana Chakra together, we can clearly see that it's not simply a mythical weapon confined to ancient texts. Not at all. It remains a vibrant and powerful symbol holding deep spiritual meaning for countless individuals today. It serves really as a timeless reminder, a reminder of the enduring cosmic struggle between good and evil, the ultimate power of the divine to protect righteousness, and perhaps also the relentless cyclical nature of time itself. What are your maybe final reflections on the enduring legacy and significance of the Sudarshana Chakra as we wrap up?
I think its enduring legacy lies precisely in that multifaceted symbolism we've explored. It represents not only the, yes, immense destructive power necessary to overcome evil when required, but also, crucially, the auspicious vision the Sudarshana required to discern truth from falsehood, right from wrong. And it embodies the dynamic, ever-moving, ever-acting nature of cosmic order and divine justice. It's not static. Its continued worship, its pervasive presence in art, iconography, and philosophical thought, they serve as a constant and powerful reminder, I feel, of the fundamental divine principles, protection, justice, truth, the cyclical nature of reality that underpin the entire universe according to these traditions. It's a reminder to align oneself with those principles.
A powerful summary, thank you. We've truly only managed to scratch the surface of this incredibly rich and complex subject, and I'm absolutely certain that many of you listening have your own insights, your own interpretations, maybe connections to stories we didn't even touch upon. Would be very keen to hear from you. What aspects of the Sudarshana Chakra resonate most deeply with you? Are there any particular stories or symbolic meanings, or even personal experiences related to its worship or iconography that you would like to share with us? Please feel free to leave your comments and thoughts in the section below. We do read them and appreciate the dialogue. And with that, we bring another hopefully insightful deep dive to a close. Thank you so much for joining us on Wiz Vibes Talks as we journeyed into the heart, the power, and the enduring mystery of the Sudarshana Chakra. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe Wiz Vibe YouTube channel for more interesting talk shows.